We live in an ever-evolving world where the future comes to be while the past fades away into distant memory. A thought, a dream, a vision shaped into reality through the energy of our efforts. In this complex world, people are driven to find a competitive advantage to fuel their growth and accelerate the rise to success. The need for power to lead the way in an increasingly competitive market. The need for reliability in an ever-changing and fast-paced environment. The need for competent logistics, providing innovative results. It's this that drives Al-Dabawi to look for sound solutions and search for reliable partners to provide these solutions. We always strive to get better when nostalgia gives way to visions of the future. To pave the way for new technology and ideas. To raise the bar for everyone. To succeed in this effort, no matter how tough the road less traveled happens to be. We are not alone. There is a helping hand nearby. And together, we can create a better tomorrow by laying a solid foundation under today's footsteps. Al-Dabawi is a fourth-generation business with family values at its core. Today, our family numbers over 1,600 people from over 30 nationalities on 4 continents. Steadily growing to become a leading player across multiple industries, we provide clients with unique solutions in total tire and battery management. We also address their needs in lubricants, conveyor belt systems, and technical rubber products. Exhibiting a strategy of constant expansion, we've propelled ourselves forward into new and exciting challenges. To do this, we have built and contracted infrastructure with state-of-the-art technologies, allowing us to produce both capacity and quality, and to set new standards with our design development and product-based R&D. Al-Dabawi has the most modern industrial battery production facility in the world, supplying batteries and cells to the most demanding of European original equipment clients. We are the single largest retreader in the Middle East, and are the only people in the Middle East to provide truck and OTR retreading under one roof. We contract manufacture our own tires in some of the largest tire plants in Asia. We contract manufacture these tires with our own equipment and R&D. Our brands, Infinity and Eternity, are then supplied to partners in over 65 countries. Our distribution businesses focus on retail, wholesale, and fleet management services that have been built with long-lasting partnerships with the world's leading brands and manufacturers, giving our clients the performance and reliability they demand. From manufacturing plants in Europe and the Middle East to distribution operations in the Middle East, Africa, Europe, Asia, and beyond, we are truly a global company. And with 40 years experience behind us, we are ready to meet the challenges of the future. We are Al-Dabawi.
I'm deeply honored to stand here in front of you, make a small presentation on the tire industry. Every year, in the last 5 years, I've been bringing new subjects related to tires, retreading and batteries. And this year, we're trying to give you a little different outlook. Basically, a global outlook on opportunities and challenges, and hope you enjoy listening to me. First of all, I'd like to say a little on the industry. Japan is stalling due to a slowdown in global economic growth. US economy was still in a seesaw of recovery and recession. European economy is still experiencing negative impacts of financial crisis. Economic expansion in Asia showing signs of a slowdown, particularly in China and India. Environmental plagued by lowering price of natural rubber and other raw materials are the main factors in the material costs. The outlook for 2014, looking ahead, it is anticipated that the operating environment will continue to grow increasingly difficult. Ongoing factors that are expected to contribute to this harshness include fluctuation in material costs, unclear conditions in the global economy, and unstable political conditions around the world. Industry results in 2013. I just want to take the major 3 companies, Bridgestone, Goodyear and Michelin. Bridgestone in yen The tire turnover up 19%, operating income up by 53% due to lower material costs. Gradual recovery in Japanese economy, effectiveness of monetary policies to deal with appreciating yen. Declines in European volumes but improved in unit sales in America and Asia. Good year in US dollars. Units slightly down for the year but operating income up by 27%. Record operating income in Q4, especially in North America. Significant benefits from lower raw material costs. Strong growth in Asia up by 7%. Michelin is in euros. Units up by 3%. Sales down 5.7%. Operating income down 7.8%. 5% unit growth North America OE and replacement. China OE volumes are 15%, while South America up 10%. Michelin describes a robust second half of the year. Significant benefit from lower raw material costs, stronger euro. The macro environment for 2014, the World Bank lifts the growth forecast to 3.2%, and our industry growth is between 2.4 and 3.2%. Indications that a self-sustaining recovery has begun among high-income countries, North America, Japan, and the Eurozone. The bank suggests that North America, Japan, and Europe may now join the developing countries as a second engine of growth in the global economy. Who contributes to the world GDP? If you look at the circles in blue, Europe and Central Asia are 29.5%, East Asia and Pacific is 27.9%, North America is 24.9%, Latin America is 8%, Middle East 4.6%, South Asia is 3.2%, and Sub-Saharan Africa is 1.8%. If you look at the USA, United States of America recovery, exploration and production adding to growth, US spending less on imported energy. By 2020, US could overtake Saudi Arabia as the largest pumper of oil. Declining need for energy imports, smallest deficits in 1999, more companies bringing back factory lines from China. In fact, Hankook has just announced they're putting up their new plant in Tennessee in the USA, which is going to be a big boom for the American tire industry. Manufacturing, cheaper fuel and raw material costs boosting manufacturing in America. 18% increase in property investment was a big driver of growth. And 7.8% was the jobs added over the last 4 years. Eurozone, the confidence is climbing now. Government deficits have dropped by half. Austerity measures will keep growth from rising as much as it should. Improving productivity, PMI picking up, showing signs of expansion. Falling unit labor costs, relatively low household debt, lacking domestic sources of strength, will continue to stagnate. Bank lending is still on a downward trend. Japan, the policy changes, the natural surge not on the cards, population shrinking and country remains over-regulated. New policy with 3 arrows welcome, cheaper yen, lower interest rates and structural reforms. Weaker yen resisting exports, Japan's economy largely dependent on exports. Economy showing signs of expansion, the PMI is picking up. Debt position was unsustainable, public debt almost 3 times size of Japanese economy. Bank of Japan's money printing operation has pushed the yen down and prices up. Recovery depends a lot on corporate sector starting to spend. China, sustainable growth, new policies point to a more sustainable growth path. GDP growth 7.6% 2013 and 7.3% 2014. Expecting 7.2% in 2015. PMI suggests modest recovery underway. Huge scope for China to develop. GDP per capita, US 5 times richer, Japan 4 times and Europe 3.5 times. Fixed investment still a bigger driver. Nearly 45% of GDP set to slow on to 37% by 2020. 17.5% in Germany, Brazil is also 17.5%, US is 20%, Russia is 30%, India is 30%. Focus on driving consumption from 37% in 2013 to 42% of GDP in 2020. Increasing urbanization from 50% of population to 60% in the next 5 years. Energy consumption growing dramatically. By 2030 will produce only 1/4 of consumption. China and India, rising middle class. This is a very important subject because the rising middle class in both these countries If you look at the figures, China had 50 million in 2013, hoping to go to 250 million in 2030. India has 20 million in 2013, going to 90 million. If you add up China and India together, within 15 years, the sheer number of middle class households in China and India will dwarf those of that of USA and Japan respectively. China and India cars per 1,000 people. Even the blue circles show you the relative size of the economy. Yellow circles show you the number of cars per 1,000 people. India and China have already relatively high GDPs compared to number of cars per 1,000 people. Tire market growth projections. Unit growth estimated at 4.3% year on year to 2017. Fredonia's January 2014 study forecasts total tire units of 2.6 billion units for 2014. This is well ahead when compared to global GDP estimates of 3.2%. Light and heavy motor vehicles make up 70% of the total world tire market. Japan forecasts to decline, shrinking population, falling vehicle exports. North America and Western Europe show improvement but gains below 2%. Slow population growth, mature rates of personal motor vehicle usage, cars per 1,000. Developing countries, growth stimulated by strong increases OE and replacement markets. Industrial and other comprises agricultural, industrial, aircraft as well as motorcycle and bicycle tires. Expected to be the fastest growing segment. Usage of motorcycles especially concentrated in faster growing developing regions, that is constrained by weaker performance of advanced economies. The overall outlook, the growth forecast, World Bank is 3.4%, Goodyear 2 to 3%, Michelin 3%, OEM 6%, Tire Studies 4.3%. Clearly strong signal of growth of at least 3%. Developing countries will continue to fuel growth given size of the US economy. Even moderate growth in the US will contribute significantly to the world economy. Europe better placed than a year back, but prospects remain unclear. Japan's economics look positive but will benefit from overall improved global economy. Raw material costs. Though not significant, there is likely to be a further downward pressure on raw material prices in the short term. Much depends on OPEC, who appear to have been able to control supply and demand relatively successfully over the last 3 years and maintained a price of $110 per barrel. Impact on manufacturers overall. The fundamentals are positive for manufacturers overall who have studied, who should be able to increase plant utilizations and who will try to take advantage of any reduction in raw material costs to manage their margins upward accordingly. The highly competitive nature of the industry will however continue to pressure weaker brands to grow share of the market without passing some of these benefits to their customers. Premium brands are likely to continue to feature strongly in developing markets like China, which has a huge appetite for branded goods. Some industry challenges we have, from green to sustainable development. Green has been a driver in the past decade. Fuel consumption, greenhouse gases, water usage, waste emission, etc. Legislation like the tire labeling introduced focus on rolling resistance, definition of reuse of scrap, tire recycling and so on. Sustainable development takes a step further and includes security of supply, management of price volatility and geographic concentration. Leading manufacturers are identified business risks related to raw material supply and are developing strategies to mitigate these risks. Example, de-risking from natural rubber by using substitutes like Goel. OEM requirements. OEMs like BMW, Volvo, etc. are placing similar stringent requirements on their suppliers, which includes tire manufacturers also. Some new technologies and developments. RFID and efficient logistics management. Kumho began applying tags to all its Korean-made tires. This is basically a labeling system for identification of radio frequency identification systems. Estimated cost savings of more than $9 million. Michelin is operating up to 40 plus of its RFID patents in order to accelerate the use of RFID by the industry. Huge opportunity to significantly improve logistics chains throughout the industry. Now coming to the Middle East. Middle East, we see 20% year-on-year growth in the next 5 years. The automotive sector in the Middle East remains upbeat despite turbulence in many countries in the region. Almost every car maker has reported sales growth in double digits, ranging between 20 and 40%. Majority of car brands expects over 25% growth between 2014 and 2017. The automotive aftermarket in the GCC countries in 2012 and 13 was equally vibrant and estimated to have grown between 15 and 20%. By 2016, the aftermarket sector is predicted to hit $14.4 billion. UAE is the second largest automotive market in the GCC after Saudi Arabia. Looking at Saudi Arabia, the tire market surpassed $10 billion by year 2014 end. Saudi Arabia is the largest and strongest automotive market in the Middle East. Even though there is a negligible domestic production of automobiles in the country, the vehicle sales are increasing at a strong pace, mainly driven by the imports, which in turn have resulted in huge demand for automotive aftermarket products such as tires. Just for information, I just heard recently that Land Rover, Jaguar, they're going to put assembly plant in Saudi Arabia, which is going to be a good boost for the area. It's reported that the tire market in Saudi Arabia is expected to grow at a CAGR of around 12% during 2014-2018 in terms of market revenues. The continuous increase in the demand for automobiles along with the shorter tire replacement cycle will drive the tire industry to the country during this period. The passenger car tire segment dominates the tire market in Saudi Arabia, followed by the commercial vehicles tire segment. I hope I've got enough time. Is it okay? The growing industrialization and increasing investments in the country are further likely to push the demand for automobiles and tires in Saudi Arabia over the next 5 years. In addition, the demand for tires is also increasing due to foray of technologically improved tires, which provide more fuel efficiency and vehicle safety. The turnover of the tire industry in Saudi Arabia is expected to pass 10 billion by 2014, driven by increasing demand from the OEM, replacement and re-export tire firms. Dubai has emerged as the leading supplier of tires, tubes and batteries to many international markets. With the well-organized retail and wholesale sector, the tire exports and re-exports business in Dubai has been a major contribution to Dubai's rising re-export trade to the GCC region, CIS, Iran, Africa and the Indian subcontinent. Industry sources value the total tire trade in tires at around $1.5 billion. According to tentative estimates, tires worth $400 million for buses and lorries are imported to Dubai every year, mainly from China, Japan and India. Almost 65% of these tires are re-exported to regional markets like Iran, Iraq and other GCC countries. Balance 35% of the tires are sold through retail outlets and local consumption. The growing importance of the tire business in Dubai can be gauged by the fact that this market is expected to grow approximately 30% in the next 5 years. The number of cars in Dubai has been increasing at an alarming pace. In recent times, Dubai has one car for every 1.84 residents, with an average vehicle occupancy of 1.7 per car. In fact, Dubai has the highest rate of car ownership than any other city in the world. Kuwait to grow at a CAGR of around 11% during 2014-2019. Kuwait is one of the wealthiest countries across the globe with more than 95% of the urban population. The automobile sales have been growing at a rapid pace in the country, which has consequently driven the demand for tires in both OEM and replacement markets. The country has a hot and humid climate that results in shorter replacement period of around 15 years of tire, 1.5 years of tire. It's reported that the tire market in Kuwait is projected to grow at a CAGR of around 11% during 2014-19. The continuous increase in demand for automobiles, coupled with the growing demand for related tires in the replacement market, is expected to drive the tire industry in Kuwait over the next 5 years. In 2012 and 13, sales of passenger cars grew at a year-on-year rate of 16%, while the commercial vehicle sales grew at 25%. Since tires are replaced at regular intervals in the country, which is relatively more frequent in other countries, the demand for tires in the replacement market will continue to grow. Qatar is expected to grow at 7.41%. It's reported that with increasing construction activities, Qatar tire market is set to record impressive growth rates. It's estimated that by 2018, automobile related tire market in Qatar is expected to grow by 7.4%. The value reached $42 million revenues. The report forebodes that commercial passenger tires will report significant growth in terms of sales as well as demand. This is a very interesting subject which all of you are sure are wanting to listen, wanting to hear. Sanctions on Iran to be removed sooner. We've been hearing this for the last 1 year. Iran has the largest automotive tire industry among the Middle East countries. The sanctions affected the economy of Iran as the automobile production and sales volume registered as double-digit negative year-on-year growth in 2012. However, by the end of 2013, the removal of sanctions on Iran has been in the discussions. This is expected to significantly boost the automotive and tire industry of the country over the next 5 years. It is reported the tire market in Iran is expected to grow at around 7% during 2014 and 18 in revenue terms. The primary reason can be attributed to anticipated increase in demand for automobiles and tires in the domestic market over the next 5 years. In 2012, about 50% of the total fleet of automobiles in Iran were more than 25 years old. The vehicle per capita income in Iran was also low, with about 89 vehicles per 1,000 people. African continent, one of the fastest growing markets for the global tire industry. Rapid growth of the Middle East and the African countries has pushed demand for automobiles to an all-time high, in turn creating a growing demand for all kinds of tires, passenger car tires, off-the-road tires, industrial tires, agricultural tires, truck and bus tires, trailer tires, as well as motorcycle and bicycle tires. There's a few things which I want to speak which are a little bit worrying to many people, because I saw a report in the press yesterday. One of our learned friends made a comment that every customer comes and asks for cheap and best tires, and he says that cheap can't be the best. Well, I think I beg to differ. I think all tires are good, some are better, and there are no bad tires. And if someone makes a comment that the cheap tires are bad, I think he's sadly mistaken, because it costs over $500 million to put up a tire factory. And if in China a factory which costs $500 million will make a defective or bad tire, how can the factory survive? And when the tire can pass all the tests by all the standards in Europe and America and in the Middle East, how can there be bad tires? So I repeat as usual, every year I say the same thing. There are no bad tires, all tires are good, some are better. Thank you very much.
You've got some questions, but I'll ask you to hold those, because at the end of the session we'll have our three speakers up for question and answer. We'll drill in even further and get some more